Good morning. We're going to take a little note. We're going to talk about fractions. I know this is somewhat of a difficult thing to learn for some folks, but hopefully, me kind of talking through this anchor chart that I found online will help you out a little bit. So, let me get my colors all set up here. So, what is a fraction? That's probably the first question you should try to answer or ask yourself is, do you actually know what a fraction is? And if you can't answer that, that's where we're going to definitely start. Feel free if any time you need to kind of stop or pause or reflect or go back or rewind or any of that. So a fraction, it's an expression, or not an expression, but it expresses, and and another word for expresses is shows. So all a fraction is it shows the equal parts of a whole. So we're talking about one whole here. So this isn't a whole. So that's what the term fraction is. A fraction of a whole, a piece of a whole. So, or a set of objects. So you could have like 4 circles, one circle shaded, but that fraction, it would be 1/3 of those are shaded. 1 out of the 3 would be shaded. So let's look at a couple examples. So what we'll do here is I'm going to draw a square. I'm going to split it up into 4 equal parts. And I'm actually going to take a different color, take that purple and shade one. So now the question would be, what fraction of the parts are shaded? Obviously, y'all's a genius. So y'all know y'all can count to 1. And then there's a total of 4 parts. See that? 4 squares inside of that big square. Mine aren't perfect, but pretty close. So we shaded 1/4. So now let's take a look at 4 circles. We shade 1. It is still equal to 1/4. There's 1 out of the 4 circles. So don't think too hard on it, guys. Keep it simple. So let's talk real briefly about some vocabulary that you need to know, and how you actually name the different components of a fraction. It's pretty important moving forward, and when they ask you on some of these, that was a funky triangle, a little funky triangle. So let me try to redraw that. That's okay. That's a little better. So we're going to shade one part of that. Remember, it's a part of a whole. So in total, how many parts? Gotta have 2. How many shaded? 1. So put that 1 on the top, 2 on the bottom. The bottom is always the total. Think about it, because the bottom is always going to be the largest. Also, unless we're talking about improper fractions, but that's for another day. The top is what we call the numerator. That is the part that is shaded in this situation. Sometimes they may ask you for the not shaded, but the numerator is the part of the fraction that you are talking about. And then the denominator is the bottom. I should have drawn that arrow in there. So you draw your arrow in to connect the denominator to the 2. Part, the whole. Part's always on the top. The whole thing is always on the bottom. So if you can remember those 4 key vocabulary and what they mean and where they go, that will make your life with fractions a whole lot easier. let's take a look at a few more examples. We're going to talk about the parts of a whole, and then we're going to show you um, how these come together to make one whole, and what that will look like numerically and visually. Okay, we're going to draw one whole piece, and we're going to split this into 5. I may end up having to chop some off. There we go, that's 5. So I'm going to erase that back piece because I want 5. Now we got 5 equal parts. You guys see that? Again, not perfect, but about as equal as I can do by hand. So we're going to take our purple and shade 2. And what color should we do? Let's see, y'all. Something we could see. How about the? I don't know if I like that. Nah, let's just go ahead and rock with the red. Alright, bet. So, what you gonna do? I shaded 3 of them red. So now, maybe you had that aha moment and it's connected, but if not, so we shaded 3 out of the 5. And those are going to be red. And in the word form of that is 3/5. So it ends with a THS. So start similarly to 5, 5/5. If you were running a race, you would be in 5th place. If you came in 5th, you know. So 3/5 of those are red. 2 out of the 5, or 2/5, are actually purple. So when we're talking about the fractions, this whole entire black piece, that is what we consider one whole. Not 5 individual wholes, but one whole. So if they're one whole, we do the 3/5. If we were going to add those together, you get 5/5, because 5 out of the 5 pieces are shaded. They're all shaded. It may be different colors, but 5/5 are shaded. So again, when you're thinking about a fraction, remember it's a fraction of a whole. We're talking about pieces of one whole figure. So that 5/5, change the color so we can see that a little bit better. But that 5/5, it's equal to one whole. So you put that 2/5 with that 3/5, you shade them. That makes up the whole figure. And the key to this is any fraction where don't start writing yet, because I mess up this. I'm gonna mess this up. Yeah, wait for me to get this definition down, and then you can start writing it. But in a nutshell, all fractions are, if the numerator and the denominator are equal, it's one whole, guys. That means that all of the parts are being used or shaded, or however it's being asked, or eaten. They may say they ate this portion of the pizza, or ate this many candy bars, or used up this much yarn, or something like that. If they're equal, that means that it is one whole. So that's kind of an overview of what a fraction is. We're going to take it a little bit deeper with naming fractions and comparing fractions and adding them and moving forward.